Hi students, this is Mr. Yao. Today we're going to continue to learn more about residuals. In the previous lesson, we have learned how to find residuals by hand. Before we get into the calculator stuff, let's quickly review what are the conclusions that we can get from the residual plots. So here they are, right here. Analyzing residual plot, we actually want randomness. That is a good thing, and pattern is not what we want. So we can have a uniform scatter plot. This is just one situation. It does not mean like only when it's uniform, then we actually have a good model. It's just when everything is scattered around, it shows randomness. That is a good model. In comparison to being a curved pattern, when you have a pattern, then it's not a linear good model. It's not a good linear model. So these are the kind of conclusions. Now let's actually get to the calculator stuff. We're still going to use the prior knowledge question as the example. So first thing, no matter what, we are going to need to find our line best fit. So we are going to need to remember to make sure that stat diagnostics is on in mode and write down as many digits of A and B as we can. So let's pull up a calculator and let's go through the process. There you go. Let me first clear my calculator. Second plot 712. And afterwards, I'm going to check mode and make sure my stat diagnostic is actually on. Press enter. There you go. Clear. Now let's start getting the data into the calculator. Stat, edit, and the numbers I need. Let's start typing 13, 25, 26, 37, 39, 41, 52, 64, and 67. There you go. Second column, 36, 34, 21, 23, 28, 18, 16, 14, and 3. There you go. 10 numbers in each column. And we do need to find the line of best fit. So click stat again, go to calc. We're going to choose number 4, linear regression. Enter, 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 enter. Calculate. Okay, there you go. We have the A value and the B value. And then afterwards, we do need to write them down because we're going to need to use the A value and B value, or in other words, we're going to need to use the equations. So let's quickly write down those two numbers with every single digit that is shown in the calculator. Afterwards, we are going to press stat and then choose edit, but we're not going to touch L1 or L2, so we're going to leave them untouched. Stat, edit. You can see L1 and L2 are still there. When we do calculator, is basically going through the process as what we have done manually to kind of generate the third column and the fourth column with our calculator. Instead of typing in each value or calculate each value individually, we're just generating them, but it's still a similar process. So let's move on. Here's the equation that we're going to be using, y equals negative 0.5106074806 x plus 42.09568033. These are the A and B values we got from the line of best fit. And you do need to make sure you actually get the line of best fit before you move on. Otherwise, in a later step, you won't have something in the calculator. So step 3 is exactly what we did yesterday. So if you recall, yesterday after we have L1 and L2, we found the line of best fit. When we get to L3 is actually called the predicted value. So L3 is the predicted value, and that's what we are getting. Yesterday, what we did was we were plugging 13 into the linear equation and plugging 25 into the line of best fit, 26 into there to actually get all the values individually for L3. So today, instead, we're just going to put the equation into the calculator, let the calculator generate everything in L3 for us. So here's step 3. Use the right arrow and up arrow to highlight L3. So right arrow, up arrow, highlight L3. You gotta make sure you're not using the space right here because the space right here needs just a number. You can't type in an equation. So you have to actually highlight L3 because that's telling the calculator, hey, I'm gonna do something with this whole column with an equation. And then we can actually type in the equation. So we're gonna type in the line of best fit that we already found in step 1. But instead of typing in the x, we're gonna make sure x is using every single number we got in L1. So this is the process, A times L1 plus B. Or in other words, you're typing in negative 0.51060748806 times L1 plus 42.09568033. That's basically what we're typing in our calculator. And in order to type in the letter L1 or the name L1, we're going to need to press second. And you see on top of 1, there's L1. On top of 2, there's L2. That's how we call the different list names. And afterwards, L3 is going to be the predict value. So let's go through that process. Negative 0.5106074806 times second 1, that's L1. And then plus, it's going to be a 42.09568033. There you go. And then we press enter. Voila. That's everything we already have. So let's quickly go back to what we had yesterday. You can actually make a quick comparison. Let's see, where are we? There you go. So these were the values that we actually got yesterday from the calculators. You see the numbers are quite close. You might be wondering, how come they're still quite a bit different? Well, because yesterday, when we actually put in the equation, we actually rounded the A and the B. That's why the numbers are a bit off. So what we got yesterday was actually a bit off. The numbers in the calculator today, they're more precise than yesterday. Now let's come back to what we were doing. So there you go. That's L3. They are the predicted value. And now let's go through L4. So for L4, there are two different options. We can either let our calculator do the residual, or we can actually use something that we have learned yesterday to do it manually. So let's see how to get the calculator to do the process. We're gonna get out of it, and then we are going to press second stat. And now you see number 7, RESIB, that's residual. So we're going to let our calculator do the residual for us. So we're going to call number 7, and you see this STO. STO actually stands for store. It's telling the calculator, hey, we're going to do something, so save these values, store these values. The button is right here above the on, so store, and we're going to save everything into L4, so second 4. See, L4. And then we're going to press enter. And now you see a whole list of numbers, and that is everything in L4. But to see it better in a table, you just go stat and edit again. And you can see every single number is in L4. So L4 now is going to be the residual values. There you go. Now, the other thing that we have learned yesterday, to find these values manually, we can actually use L2 minus L3. It was the y values minus the predicted value. It was the observed values minus the predicted values. So instead of L4, since we already had L4 as the residuals, we're going to try the other method right here. You can also highlight, well, instead of L4, let's not do L4 since we already have the numbers in there. Let's actually highlight L5 and do the manual method in L5. So highlight L5. We're going to do what we learned yesterday. It's L2 minus L3. So it's the y values minus the predicted values. So second 2, that's L2, minus second 3, that's minus L3. Then we press enter. And you can see every single number for the residuals are now in L5 as well. And you can make a comparison with L4. Every single number, they're all the same. So either way works. There you go. That's how we can generate all the numbers that we need for the columns. So we generate the predict value into L3, and we generate the residuals into L4. Now let's move on. So after we have those numbers, it's time to practice with example 2. And let me remind you how to clear. We can go back up to the names, and then just hit clear. Same thing, and go down. Same thing. Go back up, clear, go down. Go back up, clear, go down. Go back up, clear, go down, and go back up, clear, go down. Okay, I'm going up. There we go. So go back up, clear, go down. I'm gonna let you pause here and try to type these numbers into your calculator, and then let's see what you may get. Okay, here are all the numbers. Hopefully you have also finished typing them into your calculator. The only difference for this example is I've actually given you an equation. So we're actually going to use that equation for L3. This equation is a rounded line of best fit. If you actually try to find the line of best fit and then write down these numbers, your numbers might be a little bit off. So instead of going through that process for this specific example, let's just use the equation that's already given in there. So now we need to go to L3 and type that equation in. So it's going to be 2.789 times L1, and then plus 28.406. There you go. So these are the numbers that we got for the predicted values. So here they are. You can write down all the digits that are given in your calculator. And next, for L4, we are going to just use, again, you can go either way. You can choose to do L2 minus L3, or you can choose to let the calculator do the residual for you. So we can do second 2 minus second 3. There you go, L2 minus L3. Press enter. These are all the residuals. Here they are, residuals. Okay, afterwards, these are the numbers we just got. We are going to put them down into the graph so we can actually have a residual plot. Please pause here and try to do that. Hopefully you have tried. Here they are. These are the residual points. So for example, 20 and then negative 3.786, 20, and it's about right here. And we're just putting all the points down. And then we're going to look at that to get a conclusion about the line of best fit. So as you can see, the whole graph is pretty random. So that's what we want. Everything is kind of all over the place. You can't exactly find a pattern. Like there's no straight line that for this, or a curve, or like a circle, anything like that. Nothing fits all the data points. So in that case, it is a good linear model because it is randomly spread out. There you go. That's the whole example 2. Let's move on. Example 3. Please pause here and try to go through the whole process with example 3. Okay, hopefully you have finished typing the numbers in your calculator. Please go through the process to find a line of regression. Okay, here you go. Stat. Then go to calc, number 4. Enter, enter, enter. There you go. These are the A and B values. Let's get that line of regression. Here we go. Now please pause here and try to find the predicted value and the residuals. Here you go. Your L3 should actually be negative that number multiplied by L1, and then plus the 242.8604624. And if we press enter, that's going to give us all the values, all the predict values in L3. So here they are. We're just writing down all the numbers that are given in the calculator. Okay, and in L4, now you can actually type in L2 minus L3. There you go. These are all the residuals. And just write down round to 4 decimal place. Some are 4 digits, so we can just write down 4 digits. That's quite enough. Okay, afterwards, we are going to need to use that, which means we're using the x values and the residuals to create a residual plot. The only thing you have to be careful with is this time nothing is labeled, so you do need to actually go through that process by yourself. So a quick reminder, for the x-axis, which is right in the middle, because for the residuals we have positive values and negative values, so we kind of need to go positive and negative. So we can just use the line in the middle. We need to fit 0 to 40. So you can't technically just count by 5s. Vertically, the biggest number we see is 2.5 something, and the smallest number that we see is negative 2.5 something. So technically you can just go negative 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So please pause here and try to generate a residual plot. Here you go. These are all the points for the residual plot. And as you can see, things are pretty random. So we can actually get a conclusion. The question didn't ask you for that, but just quickly answer that. Random. So it is a good fit. There you go. That is everything for the residual lesson. Thank you.